Hi,
Hi, Hannah. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. Appreciate you making time for me.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. First and foremost, thank you for what you did. I'm sorry about your loss.
Yeah, I'm sorry for yours as well.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, yeah, we're part of this club, so
Yeah, right. Well, I sometimes I say we hit the wrong lottery,
yeah, you're not wrong in that.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I hate to get personal, but this is that kind of topic.
No, I got you.
You know, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your relationship with your grandfather and then unfortunately your experience losing him and then sort of go from there.
So, my grandpa was everything to me. I mean, he was all since day one. I mean, he's been my number one supporter. He was
Mhm.
an artist too. So, I kind of think that my art memorials translate to me kind of remembering him through everyone I do. And him getting COVID, he's always had bad allergies throughout the springtime. So I would say around April-ish or like the beginning of March or later March anyway, he started having allergies and he started coughing. So initially speaking, we thought it was a sinus infection because he'd had it last year and it was like the same symptoms. But because at the end of March, so many allergists were only classifying COVID to a certain degree, he was never recommended a test. He was never really given anything except for a Z-Pack. So fast forward maybe 2 weeks, my mom and I get a call that he can't breathe. And so we rush over to the house, and the last time I saw him is him being wheeled out of the house by a bunch of people in hazmat suits. And that's just not a sight I would wish on anyone, but something I would just love to always remember is the fact he was joking with them because he joked all the time. I mean, he had the biggest smile. So I did find some comfort in the fact he was kidding, but the breathing of a COVID patient, of someone who's suffering from it, is just something you can never forget.
Mhm.
So that's unfortunately something I'll never be able to let go. And so he was in the hospital for a week, just with a respirator, like with some extra oxygen. But other than that, it wasn't really anything. And then we get a call, maybe around two-ish in the morning, that he went on a respirator or a ventilator. And uh, I think he was on the vent for like 21 days. And I was the one to FaceTime him to talk to him. So not only do I have the breathing in my mind, but I also have the visual of what he looked like. And to say he did not look like himself at all, to say that I didn't recognize him at all, is heartbreaking. And it's just something that I would never wish on anyone.
Thank you for sharing so honestly. Remind my listeners, if you will, how old you are and how old your grandfather was.
I'm 15 and he was 83.
Three, God bless. How long, if you recall, how long was it before your grandfather went on the ventilator?
I would say, do you mean like when he went to the hospital and then what the time period was?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I would say about a week, like 14 days, like but something along those lines. Like,
Okay. And I'm beginning to get a little uncomfortable about these questions, but I'm sure you understand.
no, I totally get it. Yeah.
Okay, so he was there for a couple of weeks. He went on the ventilator, and then how long would you say he was on it?
21 days, give or take. I could be a little off with that number, but it was definitely over 3 weeks.
Okay, so 3 weeks on the machine.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. And here we are. It's October 2020. Flashback for me, if you would, a moment and think a year
Sure.
ago. A year ago, what might you and your grandfather have been doing together?
Well, he was an avid. He was from Brooklyn, so
Okay.
he was an avid New York goer, and I actually have memories that have popped up on my phone because they do that every now and then. And we went to the MoMA. So he would, invite me to come with him. He always went every Tuesday, and he was just so active. I mean, I can't express to you how much of a youthful spirit he was. I mean, you could see him. He was walking. Granted, we would joke he had a waddle when he like waddle side to side. But I mean, he was always doing something. And so this time last year, I would say we were either planning to go to the MoMA or we were already there.
And then prior to what you thought were allergies, just a normal sort of, Happy New Year.
I mean, we were treating everything the same.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I mean, we have Friday night dinners, so
Hmm.
we would obviously have those. And one of the really sad things that I have to, I guess, experience is he sat next to me at Friday night dinners. I have a very small family with immediate family speaking. I have my grandma, my grandpa, and then my sister and my parents. And so with the six of us around the table, I was always sitting next to him. And so when he was on the ventilator, that's one of the things I would try to remind him. I'm like, you can't leave me at the dinner table not sitting next to somebody. So prior to him getting any allergies, we were just going through life like normal.
Normal. Okay. And thank you for answering these questions. I've got 30 years on you.
Yeah.
If I were your age going through this, I don't know that I would, I don't know that I'd be sitting where you are doing this right now.
Yeah.
You've got a good face on, and
Thank you.
you're doing good things, and we'll get back to that. But I feel for you. I remember how special my grandfather was to me. Of course, it was my dad I lost.
Yeah, I'm so sorry
No,
about
thank
that.
you. Thank you. That's one of the things that's hardest for me.
Yeah.
Knowing that we celebrated Dad's birthday in February,
Sure.
and he took a fall in April,
Yeah.
and I took care of him for a couple of weeks, and then we didn't know what else to do but to bring him to the emergency room.
Yeah.
And then, of course, had no idea we were saying goodbye for the last time.
No, and I can totally relate to that. I mean, I had a concussion earlier this year, and so being in school resulted in me having to get out of school a lot because of the bright lights and whatever. And it's just so surreal to me that in February he was the one picking me up, and then in May it was his car being driven to his funeral.
Oh.
So it's that moment of like reality that hits you. That's just like it's shocking.
It is, and surreal is the best word for this year. Absolutely. So was Grandpa the first one you drew?
Oh, 100. Yeah. This project was an absolute accident. This not supposed to happen. My mom had just gotten this iPad, and I'd convinced her somehow to get me the Apple Pencil to go with it. And so she jokes that she's gotten her money's worth now. And so from there, I was just bored and I was just drawing. And I'm like, look what I just did of Grandpa. And she thought it was just incredible. So she shared it to all of these support groups. And from there, it's just snowballed.
That's wonderful. And so art's been a thing for you all your life.
Oh, 100%. I mean, between painting, he was a painter. He did a lot of abstract stuff with acrylics. And I definitely picked up on that, but I also do sketching. I do digital. I do everything.
Okay. Is that something you are studying, plan to study, pursue?
Well, it's definitely a hobby, but I'm actually in a specific school for specializing in healthcare. So I definitely take the curriculum of art when I can with electives and stuff, but my main study is with healthcare.
Okay. And of course the arts are great with therapies.
Yes.
And yeah, that's okay. So that's wonderful. Okay. So you're taking real photos and sort of reinterpreting them
Yep.
via your digital tools.
Yes.
And you've got a place on Facebook.
Yep.
Anyone can go look for that. How many of these portraits now would you say you've done?
Posts of the COVID portraits, I've said, I think I got over like 530, but keeping in mind a lot of these also have two people on them, whether it was family members of some sort, I would definitely say it's over 560.
I'm noticing this week in particular, a couple of pairs,
Yeah.
couples who passed either together or close together. Your work is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. It's touching. My sister, Tina, who you were communicating with, Tina Quinlan, she hadn't told me this was happening. So
Oh, wow.
I hadn't seen your Facebook page. I had no idea. And one night, it was a quiet night. She sent my girlfriend and myself in a little group message. She sent us a message that had your portrait of my dad included.
Yeah.
And she wrote something like, I hope this isn't a punch in the gut. I didn't want to tell you this was happening, but now that it's done, look how beautiful it is. And that she and her daughter were admiring it and sharing a few tears over it. And I couldn't respond to Tina that night. I needed some time to digest it.
Yeah.
You really, you captured, I mean, it's one of everybody's favorite photos of him.
Oh,
particularly her son,
yeah.
my nephew. But you really captured the essence of that photo, and it did, throw me for a loop that night.
Oh,
And
thank
then
you.
the next day, I was able to respond to her and go join your Facebook page. And I love seeing what you're doing. And I'm sure you are making a big difference in a lot of people's lives.
Well, of course. I mean, the motion, I guess the motivation of this project is the fact that these increasing numbers of deaths have just become so normalized. I mean, I was going to school for a while before I went virtual, and just the amount of callous comments I would hear of just, it's only 1%, who cares? It's like, it's a small mortality rate until it's one of your family members. And so my goal with every memorial is just to try and encompass who that person was, because it's those people who only think it's 1% that don't understand that these numbers were actual, individuals.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I personally can count 10 or 12 or more people that I know who are no longer here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything else in my life ever that's
Sure.
taken 12 people I knew.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 1,000%. And it infuriated me because it not only demeans the death of the people, but it puts such a normal, like, just concept, like it's such a concept now that people like accept, and it's beyond absurd to me. Like, I cannot wrap my head around the fact that people are okay with these deaths, and they say, oh well, we should, open places up, it doesn't matter, like it's only 1%. It's like, no, these are people that you're putting at risk, and until it is safe, there should be absolutely no discussion of this.
I happen to agree with you. Now, would you say you are living in fear?
No, not at all.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You have a respect for this thing which we still don't have all the answers to.
That 1,000%.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. You're a very bright young lady. So you have a younger sister. So this is real life for her as well. And was it your mom's dad or your dad's?
My mom's dad.
Okay. So, my condolences to her as well. And I suspect for some reason I got the feeling that maybe she had communicated with Tina as well.
Yeah, every now and then she'll kind of help me out, just
Mm,
because it can get a lot.
by all means. So for instance, how many messages would you say, or people are reaching out to you regularly, I'm sure?
Oh boy. So it kind of differs per day. I mean, like today, for example, we've gotten at least like 20. So
Yeah,
it definitely fluctuates, but we
sure.
try to keep up with it.
That's amazing. You are a 15-year-old young lady in New Jersey, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Doing school virtually and creating these portraits to memorialize folks we've lost this year due to COVID. Where can we find you? How can we be supportive? What's best for you? Is it Facebook? Is it Redbubble? Talk to me.
So at the moment, we only have two pages. We have one on Instagram and one on Facebook. The Facebook one is called Faces of COVID Victims, and on Instagram, it's at COVID.victims. And we do have a shop, but I don't really like to use that word. It's just a online kind of store, if you will, where people can request certain items, because a lot of times a lot of people request to send me donations because they're beyond sweet, and I deny them because I'm not doing this for any sort of money. So with this Redbubble, I guess, shop that I have, it allows people to get these comfort items and helps them through grieving that COVID's caused.
Oh, that's wonderful, and I can speak to that because we like Redbubble, and we like the idea that through a site like Redbubble or the app, you can support real artists
Yeah,
who have found a place, a home for some of their products or
of
goods.
course.
In this case, we totally saw what you did for our dad and wanted that image on some apparel.
Of
So thank God you have the Redbubble.
Yeah,
For people like me who see the image and then think, wow, that would be great on a shirt, or he loved coffee on a coffee mug,
there you go. Exactly.
a phone case, etc. So now I can carry dad around with me everywhere. I don't know if you can see,
Oh, yeah, I
he's
see
he's
it.
my wallpaper. So bless you again for not wanting to make anything from this, but there are a lot of people who are going to want to get
Yeah,
their hands on the images you're making for them.
of course. Yeah,
So I applaud that. When I put the episode together, if it's okay with you, I'll provide the Redbubble link.
of course. Yeah, no, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. And I will provide and repeat the Facebook and Instagram links. We want the very best for you. It's obvious to me that you're not into this for any reason other than, as you said, we belong to this unfortunate club now,
Yeah,
and you have something very special that you can do for others, and it made a difference for us. So I thank you for that,
you're welcome, of course.
and I hope you will let me have you back sometime.
Oh, definitely. Please, by all means. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, good. So I'm going to check back in with you in a few weeks or so,
Perfect.
and I want to hear when you've hit 1,000 of these,
Sure.
and and I would imagine you're just going to hear from more and more people. So good luck with all of that. Bless your mom for helping you out with this stuff.
Of course.
Stay safe.
You too, definitely.
And really, thank you from Tina and myself. She's going to be very excited when she hears that I spoke to you. Thank you from all of us for what you did. Maybe I will use his image as the episode art.
Perfect. Please.
Okay, so that people can get an idea exactly what we're talking about.
Beautiful. I love it.
All right, Hannah Ernst, 15 years old from New Jersey, doing a wonderful thing. I will tell you where you can find her on the news and other places. Hannah, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I look forward to speaking to you again.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you in a bit.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.